Welcome to Soul Knowledge. I'm your host, Rocky K of Tune Into Wellness. We are souls having a human experience, and this podcast is where we remember that. Your soul has lived lifetimes. It has a history, a purpose, and a wisdom that goes deeper than anything your mind can analyze. My work through Reiki, hypnotherapy, past life regression, subconscious healing, and intuitive transformation is to help you not just learn about your soul, but to actually know it. Here I'll be sharing real stories from real sessions, lessons from the unseen, and truth telling about what healing really looks like. The messy, mystical, holy, human, sometimes hilarious, often uncomfortable, absolutely life-changing parts of it all. And I'll warn you now, if you don't like the honest language or the occasional well-placed F-bomb, this is not the podcast for you. Because sometimes the most spiritual thing you can say is, fuck this, I'm done repeating this pattern. So let's take a breath. Tune in. Let go of what you think you know. And let's drop into the wisdom your soul's been trying to give you all along. Welcome home. Welcome to Soul Knowledge. Hello and welcome back to the Soul Knowledge Podcast. Today I'm really excited. I have Cass Henry, who is a coach, and she works with highly sensitive people to help clear out fears so that they can really start to live in their purpose and live a very fulfilling life. So, Cass, I'm going to turn it over to you just to say hi and introduce yourself. I'm super excited that you're here.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I always love meeting other like minded people and also getting to share my story in hopes that it reaches someone and inspires them to take the first step needed to step into their purpose and live a fulfilled life.
I love that. I love that. So I was reading through a lot of what you do, and I see we do like a lot of things. Like we both love to like help people clear out these like wounds, these fears, traumas, all these things so that they can live a fulfilled, happy life, you know? And I say it's like getting back to your magic and, coming back to that because we all have that magic, deep down in our souls. And sometimes the shit gets buried and it's amazing and such a wildly free feeling when, we can clear that out. And so I would love for you just to kind of, give us a little bit of your story and how you got into like what you're doing right now.
Yeah. And something that I love most about the work that we get to do, now I come to just expect this text from a client after like a big release where they say, Cass, I feel like I'm floating. Is that normal? And it's like, of course it's normal. You've been weighed down by the weight of your negative emotions for so long. Of course you feel lighter. So just take a minute, go ground yourself, but expect to feel good now.
Oh my gosh, yes, I do. Everybody's like I joke that they like float out of my office and I've got a really big staircase to leave to go down and I'm always like I got to make sure that they're like good before they walk out my door so they don't go like falling down the steps or something because I'm like, "Oh gosh."
You're like so much lighter now. Yeah. So my story, I grew up in a very chaotic household, addiction, abuse, all of that kind of stuff, mental health struggles. I struggled with my own depression for so long. I didn't realize that I was a highly sensitive, empathic person really truly until I was about 25, but I always knew something was different about me. I could sense other people's emotions. I knew things that I don't know how I knew it. I just always felt different, like a black sheep in my family. And I carried other people's emotions, and that was really challenging because now looking back, I know why I got into the cycles that I got into, but it was really hard. So I was addicted to alcohol. I felt like the only time I could actually be myself, the only time that I felt safe to be myself was when I was drinking alcohol, and I would get blackout drunk and I would just pass out in random places. And it was like I had the courage to be me when I was under the influence. But then I got to a point where the depression and the anxiety got so bad that I would try and hurt myself when I would drink. And then even when I wouldn't drink, I wanted to kind of take my life. So that got me into a really tricky situation because obviously when you're in that, it's like life or death at this point. So I And I attracted a lot of narcissistic, abusive men. Now, there was no physical abuse, although it would have made so much more sense. Like, it would have been so much more easier to understand what was going on if there was those physical proof. But it was so confusing to me that it didn't make sense. And it took years of research to identify the kind of situation I was in. Anyways, in 2018, that was my last rock bottom moment. And I was starting to write letters to my family to say goodbye. And then all of a sudden, my intuition said to create a vision board. And I'm like, what is that? And so I kind of looked it up and I was like, okay, well, I don't feel worthy of any of those Pinterest perfect photos. So I decided to draw out a picture. And I drew out a picture of like a family with a house and a pool, and I wrote out that I wanted to vacation a couple times, like each month almost, and then make like $20,000 a month. And I was like, where is this coming from? And then the mission statement to help people live a happy and fulfilled life and to find their reason for being. I was like, what is that? And then it said, like, to be an inspiring leader to curious and growing minds and to have a team of organizers to take over my business. And I was in rock bottom. So none of this made sense to me. But I decided, like, whatever this voice is, I'm going to trust it because it's literally saving my life right now. And then a few months after that, I wound up at Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it was in New York City. 4 days is like 15 hours long. You end up walking on fire. Like it's incredible. And at that event, he helps you to uncover the core limiting belief that has been holding you back and causing all of your suffering. And he does this in a way opposite of what you and I do. So when I do timeline therapy with clients, we kind of go back. But with Tony Robbins, you go forward and you go so forward into the pain of staying where you are that you have to change now. And so I literally saw myself hanging from my neck, and I had taken my life, and all I wanted to do was hug my baby. And I couldn't because I decided to take my life. And then in that moment, I decided enough is enough. Enough is enough. I need to create a change now. I cannot be in this state of depression and anxiety anymore. I just can't because at this point, it's life or death. And in that moment, Tony leads you to asking yourself, what is the belief that is driving all of this? Because as again, you and I know, beliefs drive everything. And I thought that all of the pain and suffering that my family had endured was my fault because I was born. And my dad said that he had started doing drugs and alcohol again the day I was born because it was too much to handle. And so I thought everything was my fault. The divorce, the abuse, the addictions, the destroying of people's livelihoods. I thought it was all on me. So no wonder why I had these feelings. But in that moment, I realized it's not my fault. I didn't do any of that. I didn't even ask to be born. None of that was my fault. And so I released myself of that burden in that moment. And from that moment onward, I was free from the depression and the anxiety. And then that was in November of 2018. Fast forward March of 2019, I decided to go to Tony Robbins again. Same event, but in California. Because vision board saved and changed my life. So at Tony Robbins, the voice again came back and said, vision boards helped you, so now you have to go and teach it to the world. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that looks like, but I'll do it. I created vision board workshops. Like, what even is that? And at one of these workshops, I was telling all of these people about my experience at Tony Robbins, and they're like, I want to come. And I'm like, well, if you're going, then I'm going. Like, I'm not missing out on an adventure. So a bunch of us met there. And I thought for sure this time I'm healed. Like, I'm good. The depression is gone. I feel better than ever, happier than ever. I even like released a bunch of weight from my body. And so when I met someone and like right after I got back from my trip, I was like, oh my God, it must be fate. Like, I'm healed. So it must mean that this person is for me. I got all these exciting feelings. We had met in elementary school and we're friends in high school. So I'm like, this is meant to be. But like within the first couple of weeks of being together, I was engulfed in like these like this rush of emotions. And I'm like, this is amazing. But something in the back of my mind said, pay attention, be careful. And I was like, meh, nah, like ignore it. And then I started seeing red flags and then like that gut feeling that you know something is wrong, but I didn't know what it was. So I'm like, no, can't be, can't be. And then my intuition like started coming up and I actually hired someone. I paid her like $2,000 to tell me like to get some advice. And she's like, I think he's a narcissist, like based off of what you're saying. And I'm like, I think you're wrong. Like, can't be. He ended up seeing that message, and that was like the start of like, anyway, so 5 years I stayed there and I constantly overrode my intuition. It got to the point where I had no idea who I was. I couldn't trust myself. I started to let go of my friends, my family, my business, my fun, my connections, and I didn't even laugh out loud anymore. And if you know me, you know that I love an adventure. I love to laugh out loud. I am this vibrant, fun person. But that person was gone. And I fully abandoned myself because I just wanted love and connection. And I didn't want to leave because what if I was wrong? Like, what if I left and that was the wrong choice? So I felt like I couldn't trust myself anymore to make the right choice. So I asked everyone outside of me for years. I binge listened to podcasts secretly because in those relationships you have to do everything secretly. I would write down in my journal and eventually he would find it. So I could write down in my journal, but then I would have to burn it or rip it up into shreds and throw it out. I would secretly like read books, but I had to be really, really careful. And then I listened to podcasts, same thing. And it wasn't until a moment happened in our house that I was like, that's it. Like, that's it. Because the next time for sure he'll come at me physically. I'm like, it's done. And this is a moment that changed everything in my life. He left that night, and then all of a sudden the sad sob story comes in, and I'm like, "'Kay, no, just don't pay attention to that." And I decided that it was done, it was time to break that cycle, so I looked up to God, universe, I didn't even know what the heck that was at the time, and I said, "Please help me because I can't do this on my own." And I sent that person a text message, and I said, like, "I'm done." And it felt like death. It felt like literally someone died. It felt like I died, it felt like that person died, and it felt like you got cut off from your life force, you know? Like, whatever was giving you love in life, it felt like I'd literally cut that off, like taking off life support. And then at the same time, I felt free for the first time in my life. And in that moment, I decided to commit my life to living via a state of surrender, tuning into that voice within myself, trusting that voice and having the courage to do what it says. And that was in 2024, and everything in my life has been different since. So, that's kinda like my story in a nutshell.
Goodness, girl. I mean, I I think life has really kind of put you into that situation because I mean, I just really feel like you're going to really help so many people. You know, I mean, I didn't grow up in like a great household, but I've not been in like a personal relationship where I was physically, verbally abused, right? I actually agree that I would rather the person physically hit me versus, you know, the verbal assault because that is confusing and it doesn't make sense, and you can make a lot of stories up about why they said that, and like, "Ah, it was just in the heat of passion," or whatever, you know, you can make up a lot of bullshit, but I think there's so many women that are seeing this just like you have saw it. You know, you're seeing these narcissistic partners for what they are. And I think we're all calling like like no, like fuck this. Like we're done. We're moving on. And I think it's incredible that you're like doing what you're doing now. You're helping people. And you know, are you trained in Reiki at all?
No, I'm
Okay.
not.
Well, I'm gonna push that out to you. I think you should. If you ever wanna come to Virginia Beach, I would love to do it for you. But what I was, thinking though, because what I have noticed with people that I have, done Reiki on, the more sensitive they are, usually the deeper they can go into depression. You know, like, I have found, like, some of the most troubled souls are the most sensitive souls.
100%. Oh, yeah.
Because we don't you don't know how, and I should say we, because I am a very sensitive soul. I just happen to, I don't know, I didn't dive into too deep. I've been able to pull myself out before I get too deep, but it's seeing how sensitive and they're usually so gifted. They get down and they are so sensitive, but they fall even harder because they feel everything so much deeper, and then go ahead and put it into, like, your childhood where things weren't great, and then you do take things personally like it is your fault, because as an empath, right, we take things on as they're our own. So I think that's a really cool thing that you got out of Tony Robbins, like, seeing that that was, like, that limiting belief there that was, like, really holding you back, Kids especially hold things so much differently, and as adult, especially with, like, I do hypnotherapy, like, I'm like, "Do you wanna get rid of that? Like, do we wanna move on?" And they're usually like, "Yeah, yeah," because as an adult, you see it in that perspective of, having lived life and having a better understanding and not having this childlike view, but as a child, we hear things, we see things, we are witness to things, and we don't know what to do with it. So and as an empath, we take it as our own, right?
Mhm. Yeah, we take it on and we create a meaning out of it. And like I haven't been trained in Reiki, although I am very intuitive. So I channel and I feel other people's emotions and energy. So, and I've learned to protect myself so I don't take others people's stuff on as my own. So, like, when you have your release, when we work together, I also feel the release in my body. But if I feel like there's still a block there, I'll speak to it. Like, I channeled someone's deceased brother today. Like, and I'm like, "Are you open to receiving what I'm kinda channeling?" And I haven't done any training on any of that, but I just invite. I believe that I'm a vessel, so I open myself up to receive anytime I communicate with someone, I just open myself up to receive whatever's meant for them. So whoever it comes from, as long as it's of the highest good, then I speak it, and then I feel it and allow it to move through my body. Yeah, but Reiki, for sure. I mean, I'm always up to learn more.
Yeah, have you ever do any kind of training, even just to, like I think it just accelerates everything because I'm that type of person, I've always been able to read a room, like, I can walk in, I'll meet you, and you don't have to say a word, and I already know everything about you, like, I get those I collectively get that kind of understanding and that energy about people, but, now that I've done Reiki, it just keeps the more and more I do it, the more and more it's, like, opened up these, like, doors, like, to just, like I'm like, "Oh, okay, so, like, now I'll see people's spirit animals," sometimes I will see, passed on loved ones. That's what I'm still working on. I do kinda block that one out a little bit.
I just opened myself up to do it. I was like, "Okay, I've seen things and felt things my whole life, but if I can use it for good, I know that I will only just channel good." And so yeah, today I brought up, like, I'm like, he said something about a tattoo, and then she's like, "Yeah, I got a tattoo from him." I'm like, "Okay, anytime you need a reminder, look at the tattoos." It was just really amazing, and then just the release that you get. So the more I can help people, I think God gifted me to go through all of these negative cycles, even like eating disorder, like all of that kind of stuff. Although some of those things were more shorter lived, I went through all of it. And I think that I need to do that in order to have a better understanding of how people, like the kind of situations people have been in. So I can have that empathy and compassion to really help them.
Right, and, I think a lot of, like, what we go through, as people that help others are there for a reason. Like, now we're just better able to show up and understand, like, the workings behind here, and now we've already done the work on ourselves and, we're always a work in progress, but we know how to show up, we know what to say, we understand where people are at so that we can meet them there and help guide them down their path, so that they can clear out the wounds, the trauma, the fear, like you said, and so that they can get back to who they are and who they're supposed to be. Because when we're like living in purpose, right? We There's a freedom to it. Like we just feel really like grounded and wild and free all at the same time. It's like such
mixture of amazing emotions, you know?
Yeah, and it's something honestly because I helped people declutter and organize their houses for 10 years. And with that work, I'm not a surface level person. Like empath sensitive people, like we overshare. I'm like TI, but I'm still going to tell you the story. And so I would get to know people on a very personal level. I'm like, this clutter in people's houses is not at all the problem. It's just a symptom. So that's why I transitioned into this work full time because I'm like, now that I have freed myself of all of this stuff from my past, I'm like, I don't actually need anything. Like, I have my hobbies and I love certain things that I use often, but I'm like, everything else can just go. Like, I really just don't give a shit about any of that kind of stuff because now it's not filling a void. And so I'm writing a book called Clutter Talks, and it just shows, that there's different types of clutter and what it's telling you about you and how you can release it and free yourself in all of these ways. Because I think that we've just taken on all of this weight. And the more we free ourselves, the more our clients walk out feeling free. But then you open yourself up to actually giving yourself permission to live peaceful, to live a calm, happy life. And people are afraid. Like, people are like, is that possible? Like, is that safe? Is it okay? Is wild. Do you ever notice that? Like how like being peaceful and happy is actually more foreign to people long term than stress?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many times they're like, I don't, people don't know who they are without the fear, without the anger, without the resentment, whatever it is that they're, the grief, even, like people don't know who they would be without those things. And I'm like, and so, a lot of what I do too is I'm helping them fill that back in, like, okay, so we're pulling all of this out and what do you want to put in, right? And so that they can. And so sometimes I'm like, well, so let's do it in a step-by-step process. Let's get rid of the anger first, and then we'll come back and we'll do some others and, make that readjustment. But you get to be peaceful. You get to be wild and free, like, it's the best feeling, and I think it's sad when I hear people, they're like, "I don't even know what that looks like or feels like," and just
It's
like,
sad, and when they come out and realize that, then you're like, "Let me show you. Let me help you see for yourself," because, like, when people after a session with me and they're like, "I don't understand, like, what used to trigger me doesn't trigger me anymore, like, it's so strange," it's like, "Yes, because you don't need that anymore, like, it doesn't you don't have to be triggered in a constant state of fight or flight or anxiety, like, you don't. We don't need it." Like, you can be free. Like, go, spread your wings, go have fun, go do something fun.
yeah, I love that. Yeah. It really is fun. I have found in rewarding, obviously, just to watch the shift, and watch, people that I've gotten to work with long term just move through things. Obviously, people just even after one session, where we'll do some big clearing and stuff, especially, I've worked with several mothers that have lost children. And, a simple regression session, I can go and really help them move through that grief so that they're not, drowning in that. And that's so cool. Like, because they've just been stuck in this grief, and there's some of these moms, they've been grieving for decades. They've come in and seen me, and to watch that shift to where they're not being gobbled up by it, I mean, wow, then you really do. You get to start to live life, and live it to the fullest because, you said it in my little questionnaire that I gave you ahead of time, that we're not supposed to like be in like pain and miserable through life. We're supposed to have fun and like live and be happy. And I really loved, reading that about you because yes, like, you know, I I love to live. I love to laugh. I love to have fun and like I want that for everybody. Like and everybody can have it. But, matter if they choose, right?
Yes. Yeah, because honestly, so many people I mean, I was on a consultation call the other day with someone, and I've been attracting more men because men need this work just as much as women.
100%.
And I've never had someone go through so many objections. I was like, "Man, he's just, like, pulling them out like a raffle." It's like bam, bam, bam. Will it work for me? Yeah. Oh, man, now I can't even think of all of them, but I was like, wow, your subconscious is getting so creative right now to come up with all of the reasons as to why you should stay the same. Like, will it work for me? Like, I know it works for everybody else, but like, will it work for me? Another one was like, what if I change and I don't know who I am anymore? Or like, what if I change and I become like cocky, like too confident, like I feel too good and now I'm like really happy. And it's like, I love it. Like, you're pulling out all of the stops here, like, keep them coming, and it's just the fear, like the child, the child is going out and it's like, "But what if this happens? But what if this? But what if this?" And it's like, "Shh,
Yeah. And
just
what if it
ah,
does?
ah." But what
Yeah.
if it, like, leads you onto your path of ultimate happiness? Like, isn't that better than staying in a state of stress and overwhelm and fear the rest of your life? And I just, we just really hope that people would give themselves that permission to at least try.
Yeah. You know, I had a girl, just, like, stop by my office door, like, I have a bunch of stuff hanging outside my door, and she was in the room over, they have exercise classes, and she had stopped by, and she's like, "Well, you do hypnotherapy? Oh, cool. Can you help, like, clear out all my shit?" And I was just like, "If you want it me to." Like, and she's like, "You can help me?" I was like, "Only if you wanna release it all. That's the only way I can help you, is people have to really want to release it, you know? You can't force it out of people. I mean, I've had people in hypnosis, they are deep, and I'm like, "Would you like to release this?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay." And and I'm gonna tell you, the 2 people that have done it to me and have said no were both men. They're like, "Nope, I'd like to still be sad that that girl broke my heart." "Okay, alright, well, go ahead and keep being sad. I don't understand why we wanna get rid of like, wanna hang on to that, but you can still know you were sad. You can still
Mhm.
miss the person.
Yeah.
You don't have to let it control your life and how you show up."
And it's something I love about the work that we do, because I'm certified in hypnotherapy as well, is we get to just it's like a playground. When we're in a session, it's like if they say no, we're taught to utilize everything. Okay, isn't that interesting? What would you need in order to like fully release this now? Like, what do you need to feel safe to let this go? What do we need in order for it to be a yes, like a full body yes?
Right.
And it's so interesting what they need. Maybe they need to forgive them or forgive themselves or cut energetic ties. And it's just like, all right, do we want to do that to start? It's like going like forward, backwards until finally you're like, ah, okay, now I'm free. But they don't like, there does have to be some sort of an intuitive process. Like, I feel like the best people that do this work are able to go in it in that way, like intuitively and not just follow like the script or things like that, because there's so much more that needs to happen when you're in it, like inner child healing or forgiveness, or even, whoever's open to doing it, like channeling a loved one or something like that can give them maximum benefit. I don't know. I find it fun.
Oh, yeah. No, I love it because, especially the more tools that I have that I'm like, "All right, hey, we're gonna kinda move off script here, and we're gonna do a little different, and this is, like, gonna help you," so whatever. So I mix up the NLP, the quantum time techniques, hypnotherapy. We'll go into past life regressions, like, I love a good past life regression. I'll take you to your spirit guides if that's what's needed. Like, what do we need here in this moment, And, and even a future life progression. Hey, let's see what now that we've done this work, what does future, Cass need in this moment, right? And like let's go check it out. Like, how'd she get there? What'd she do? How'd she have to show up? What does she feel like? All that good stuff.
So good. I just love it all so much. I did a future hypnosis this morning on myself. It was my own recording. And I'm like, hey, girl, what do I need to know right now? I just collected some stuff from the future me, and I'm like, okay. I did it. I do it in the sauna oftentimes or out in nature. And it's just like, thanks. Just kind of like collecting future gifts from yourself for you now so you can just like chill the heck out.
Well, yeah, and I always tell people too when I do a future progression, there are so many different versions of you potentially in the future. you know? So when I do a future progression, I give the caveat, "Hey, this is only one possible outcome." I'm like, "But I'm gonna take you to this one possible outcome, and I want you to explore. I want you to understand who you are, how you got there, what is going on. Do you like it? Do you like where you've been? Because if you don't, now you know what you gotta fix." Or if you do, okay, what'd she do to get there? Okay, cool. Like, let's fix this because I mean, 15 or so years ago, I did my first future progression and I didn't like it. Did not like it. And I'm like, no way. There's no way that is going to be my future. I was like, because at the time I was having problems with my husband and we were like married, but we were just like living side by side, like we were roommates. And I was like, no, I'm either going to like and love and have fun with my husband or it's not going to be my husband. Like that's not my future. And so I made a vow to fix it. And I did. And I'm going to be having my 24th wedding anniversary soon. So like I fixed shit cuz I was like, "No, I'm not living with a roommate. I'm living with my best friend."
Yeah, and it's like that Tony Robbins thing that I told you. Sometimes we have to go into the depths of darkness into our future to see if I continue on this path, what will my life look like? And a lot of people will be like, if I don't change now, it'll be the same. No, it won't be. It won't be the same. If you keep eating the way that you are and thinking the way that you are, do you think you're just going to stay the same? No, it's going to get worse. Like, and then you're just gonna miss out on way more, like, are you kidding me? Not gonna stay the same. So, like, decide now and get as much leverage as you need in order to pivot, and then now okay, what does it look like now that we've pivoted? Okay, now go there. Is that much better? Great, but now we have to do the work.
Yeah, I love that you said that because I've actually never even like verbalized that, but you're going to change regardless. It just depends which way are you going, you know? Is shit gonna keep getting worse or is it gonna keep getting better? So I really love that you said that, and, I mean, it's such a great point because everything is changing. That is the o I mean, and I have always said change is the only constant, like, it's the only constant, but, like, you say it, like, I mean, are you gonna be moving for the good or what? Like, where is your track going? Because, you could either keep feeling like shit, acting like an asshole, not taking care of yourself, not giving, a crap about who you are at your, core of your existence, and probably gonna be really fucking miserable. Probably sick, unhappy, more unhappy than you already are, or you can make that decision.
And I think sometimes we need to get leverage, and if changing for ourselves is not enough, then find something bigger than yourself. Like if you have kids, choose your kids. If you don't have a kid and you have an animal, choose your animal. If you don't have that, then choose a random stranger that will benefit from the healed version of you and choose that person. And then hopefully by the end of it, you're choosing yourself. You're choosing change for you. But if not at first, then find someone else to use as leverage.
Yeah, even if it's like a fuck you to somebody else, like, yeah, like I'm gonna change and I'm gonna do this just because I don't like you.
Yeah, exactly. And then transfer out of that after, like, once you've changed, now we're gonna pivot and it's like moving towards pleasure, within ourselves, but sometimes we need to move away from pain, and if you need to do it in that way, then do it. Yeah, I love that. Whatever way you need to get leverage on yourself to change and change now. Like, so many people will come back 1 year, 5 years later. It's like, "Oh, I've been following you for so long, like, I'm still stuck." It's like, "Fuck, still stuck after 5 or 10 years?" Like, I get it, I was there, but, like, can we please, let's just move on now.
Well, yeah, start taking the steps in the direction you wanna go, and I think and I've definitely have said this a lot, everybody thinks it's like some big magical moment that, you're gonna come down, you're gonna sit down with a session with you or I, and they're gonna walk out just fucking twinkling and sparkling, and yes, they will feel light and they will feel good, but it's not always like some big magical moment, you know? It's a lot of hard work. It's facing the hard things that we have gone through in our life and some and mostly actually I should say, it's like looking at our part of the story. Like, what was our role in those stories, you know? And I know you had said it too, and I've talked about this in my personal story, not listening to our intuition. You know, it's so crazy to, like, think about us, like, we had the nudges. We had the voice say, "Yeah, no, that's a hard no." And we're like, you know, it's not gonna be that bad, right? No, it was worse than you thought it would be. Like, it was worse, and we didn't listen. And I know I went back, you know, with my whole stalker situation. In my mind, it was like, "Do not go to the gym today." And I thought it was about something else. And I was like, I can handle this. I can handle this. Well, then when I went back into a regression, I was venomously angry at myself, like pissed. Like I've never felt so much seething anger in my whole body, my whole life until I went into that session and I was like, whoa, I am really mad at myself for not listening to my intuition. Like really mad. And I'm like, okay, you know, yep, let's get rid of this because I sure don't want that, you
I don't
know?
need that now. That's not serving me now.
Yeah, and I had done so much work and so much healing around my stalker, but I never looked at myself and my role, you know? And so then I'm like, why is this still here? Why is this still coming up? And it's because I didn't nobody walked me through when I did my hypnosis for it, what was my
Right.
you know, what how did I play a part in this? Because I did. I played the main role, you know, like, I didn't have to go into the gym that day. I could have listened and I could have went home. I have a gym at home, but I was like, eh,
Well, that's the thing with our intuition though, is if you don't develop that, mutual agreement with yourself that even if I don't know what that nudge is, I'm going to follow it. So if you say don't go to the gym, I'm going to obey. I'm going to obey it. And that's why I constantly live via the state of surrender. Even sometimes when my intuition is like, psst, like it tells me to do something, I'm like, no. And I was like, fine. I said I would surrender. I said I would listen. Fine, I'll do it. And I've caught myself like in that back and forth battle with my mind sometimes. And I'm like, okay, Frank, I don't know what this means, but I trust you. And then after like it reveals itself, but it's like, dang, because if you don't know why, like we want to know why. And if your intuition at that time didn't say like why specifically don't go to the gym, it was just like don't go. It's like, but I need to know why or else I'm gonna go.
yeah, I was like, I kinda need a little more information here.
It's kinda like our parents. I don't know if your parents ever said this when you would ask them like, why can't I do this? And it's like, because I said so. It's like, well, that's not a good enough answer, so I guess I'm just gonna have to fuck around and find out.
Yep, that's exactly what I've done, and I've fucked around and found out, and it was not fucking fun. I'll tell you that, you know? So, yeah, and it's sometimes it is big things like that, I've tried to teach my daughter, so I've got an 18 and 20-year-old daughter now, and I have tried, and I have instilled, I'm like, "Listen, if you get something, like, intuitively, because my girls are very intuitive, I'm like, "Listen, do not ignore it. Like, if something feels wrong, you can call me and I'll help you make up an excuse of why you don't show up to something." I'm like, "Whatever you need," I'm like, "but I need you to listen to that inner knowing. Like, it will not steer you wrong. I promise." Like, I've had so many instances, and now I'm just like, "Yeah, nope, okay, not doing it."
Yeah, like, at some point when you decide to just commit to it, then it's like, okay. But kids, like, especially with, like, we gotta teach our kids, like, you won't know why. You won't know what the reason is, but you just gotta trust it. Trust me, you gotta trust it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even when I was in high school, I remember my mom I was so mad at her, she didn't let me go with my friends. Like, I'm like, "Hey, like, I wanna go," and she's like, "Mm-mm, why?" And she's just like, "I just Rocky, just no," And I was like and then I was, like, super mad because 'cause I'm, like, 14 or 15 at this time, like, pissy, and I'm like, "Ugh," whatever. Go to my room, whatever. Next day, my friends were in a car accident that I was supposed to be in the car, and I was like I never questioned my mom after that. I was like, "Just whatever." She said no, and so I'm like, "Mom said no, they were in an accident." So anytime I asked if my mom said no, I'm like, "Okay, cool, that works." And I would just skip back up to my bedroom or something, you know?
I have full bar skills on that one. I was so mean to my mom, like, because yeah, she tried to save me so many times. She's like, "Cass, you can't hang out with those people or don't go there. Don't do that." I'm like, "Too bad." And she wishes that I had had a daughter so I could get payback. She's like, "Damn, you got a son, you don't get payback." I was like,
Yeah, I I shouldn't have any payback, but my girls kinda challenged me in different ways, and I'm like, "I was a really fucking good kid."
it's all part of our life path, though.
I know, right? I was like, "Okay, whatever."
Yeah, yeah. No, honestly, the biggest thing for everyone who's listening is redeveloping that sense of self-trust. Knowing that it is safe and okay to do it, and then it's also, like, so important to redevelop this self-love. Like, I remember being in elementary school, and I felt good about myself, and then all of a sudden, like, something pinged me and it said, like, "It's wrong to be confident, to love yourself, like, it's not good to love yourself." And then after that, like, honestly, decline happened in my life. I started getting bullied, I had no self-worth, no self-esteem, no self-confidence, everything declined in my life from there. And it was so interesting because I loved myself and I was confident and happy in my skin, but then all of a sudden, something, you know what it is now that I'm thinking about it? Just the evils, just the evil voice. You don't know, like when you're vulnerable, it could come in and just swoop in and be like, it's wrong to love yourself. And it's like, is it though? I'm like, am I a selfish person to love myself? And so, anyways, that my intuition kind of just told me, like, I just got that download. Like, that's how, when you're sensitive, if you don't pay attention to, well, like, what that voice is and you listen to it, it can really steer you down the wrong path. So, the biggest thing is learning how to listen to yourself. This self-trust is huge. I've recorded something, I'll give it to your listeners if they want, on regaining that sense of self-trust, so it's part, like, training, part hypnosis. CassHenry.com/self-trust if you want it. It's free for your listeners to have.
Okay, yeah, your website is linked in the bio of this?
Perfect. So just backslash self-trust because I don't even think it's on my homepage.
Okay, well, there you go.
When I went back and listened to the hypnosis part of it, like, I'll be honest, I was in tears because I was like, because essentially you kinda go back on your life path and collect the parts of you that you abandoned along the way. Like, what a journey.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, and we do it so thoughtlessly, I think is maybe the word I'm looking for, like, we don't even realize that we are abandoning certain parts of us, and I definitely see it a lot more in the super sensitive in women because we are, to be quiet and helpful and always taken care of and the nurturers and the good girl oh gosh, yes, and
Detrimental. I heard someone the other day say, "Oh, my kid is such a good girl." I'm like, "Alright, you can't say that to her." Like, you don't realize the wounds and the detriments of saying that your child is a good girl or a good boy. Because now when they wanna tell someone no, well, what if that person thinks I'm not nice? Okay, but then I won't have the persona of a good girl, a good boy. That that has to be taken out. I don't know, I'm, like, super passionate about that now because now that I'm looking back, allowed so many people to physically, like, just to take advantage of me because I didn't wanna be seen as not a nice girl, not a good girl. And now it's like, "Fuck that." Like, I just got really passionate about that for a minute. I apologize, but I'm just like, "Hold up, the good girl thing has to go."
yeah, no, I mean, yes, and you know I've always been that person that's always just like, "Yep, I'll help you, like, I'll take care of you." Like, I definitely had a lot of boundaries that were never set. I'm definitely a whole lot different now, but when I raised my girls, I raised them how I wanted to be raised.
That's great.
And my girls and it's probably why they're so difficult is because I've raised them so confident and strong and just assertive and, like, what they want. Like, I mean, I even had, like, a teacher write back on, like, a paper of my daughters because they're like, "Who do you love the most?" And she wrote, "Me." And she's like, "Wow, I wish everybody could be this, like, confident and, like, love themselves this much." And I will tell you, My youngest, she does. She loves herself, and, at night, we joke, I'll say, "I love you," and she's like, "Oh, I love me too," and I'm she's a she's a little bit of an asshole, but I'm like, "Well, I fucking did that," that was my work, I'd like to say good job, right?
Honestly, parenting is, like, the hardest job, but good, like, I think that these conversations need to be had even more. Like, to not be confident, like, confidence is everything. As long as you're, again, not being an asshole and not, like, thinking you're better than everybody, but if you are rooted and grounded in who you are and you genuinely love who you are, then you show up so vibrant and so happy, and then you give others the courage and the inspiration to show up fully as themselves. On the weekend, I joined a random WhatsApp group chat, and they were going on a little trip, so I I showed up in this town, and I'm like, "Oh," like, "Hey," I had met one person from it, but, everyone else I didn't know. And then so we go to this place, there's, like, a bridge, and we're sitting on this rock, but, like, there's water all around, and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, "Is anyone else here, like, not thinking, like, maybe we wanna go for a swim?" But we're all fully clothed, but I don't care about that, I'm gonna go swimming if it's a nice summer day. So I'm like, "Does anyone else wanna go swimming?" And then one other person was like, "I was just thinking that." So I'm like, "Okay, well, then we stand up and just jump in the water with our clothes." And then, like, 4 other people come. And then someone messaged me recently, like, from that post saying, "I just wanna thank you so much for, like, being unapologetically you because it inspires me to be unapologetically me." I'm like,
That.
"God,
That's so cool.
that's the best I can ask for is if I can live fully and happily within myself, then you can feel like you have the permission to do the same."
And everybody does have that permission. It's just whether they allow it or not, right?
Yeah.
I love that. That's so fun. That's a great story, and it is, and how many more people were like, "Yeah, that would actually be a lot of fun, to jump in the water right now," right?
And then how many people hold themselves because they're afraid, maybe of fear, of judgment, or of, being fully seen or whatever, or of shining bright. Because there's lots of wounds there too, of course, like, we would have to have a whole other conversation just to get into that kinda stuff, but I feel like we should just have a full day training for people to come on and just, like,
Hey, there you go.
listen to us chat, but, like, they will get benefit from it, I promise you.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. So, Cass, if people wanted to work with you, can you talk a little bit more about, how people could work with you?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways that people can work with me. I work with people privately or in my program called Worthy and Free. Currently, it's just open up for women, although down the line, I'm considering both men and women. And what we do, you heal your past, you master yourself, as in, like, you get to know who you are and you step fully into your purpose. And then you live fully and freely. Like, that's the framework. I call it the freedom method because in the end, you are free. You're free to be you. And the majority of people that I attract into my life are empathic, maybe ADHD, highly sensitive, and they know that they are meant for more, but there's something holding them back, whether that's fear, self sabotage, procrastination, whatever it may be. And every single person I work with, they get benefit after the first call, even. But I stick with people for 10 weeks, whether that's one to one or in my program, Worthy and Free, because I don't wanna just give you this sample. You know, when you go to, like, Costco or some sort of grocery store and you're like, you get a sample, and I'm like, "But, now that I had this sample, I want the whole thing." I actually did that recently with ice cream. I'm like, I know that if I have this sample and I like it, I'm gonna buy the whole thing. And so I don't like to just do surface level stuff with person. I want you to come in, clear out all the shit, step into your power, and then leave, and then you don't have to come back. Like, move on with your life, you know? That's the way people can reach me on Instagram or my website, and start by having a conversation. You can book a call with me, just have a conversation. If you're ready, book the call.
Oh, I love that. I mean, you definitely speak my love language.
Well, are we gonna meet each other in October?
Yeah, you're going to Megan's event. Yeah. Oh, see? There we go. It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be fire. So I love this. Well, Cass, I love what you do, and I realize I have over a decade on you, and I can't wait to see what you're doing when you're my age. In a decade or more from now, the people you're gonna really move some big mountains, and I think that's so cool what you're doing and how you're, like, shifting this so quickly, really alchemizing all the bullshit into some really cool magical stuff and helping, people and women and men too. Like, I know I work with men too, but most men, like, they kinda like, do you work with men?" Like, if a guy kinda like, I work with men. But most of them don't like to show up and admit that they were maybe wrong.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what's interesting though, and this might be helpful for anyone listening as well. For the past 7 years, I've wanted to step fully into coaching. And for the past 7 years, I've gone back to the organizing business because that's what paid my bills and I loved it. And that was my first business and it was doing well. This year, I decided, after I went to an event in December, I decided to burn the boats. I'm like, I'm not going back because I keep doing this back and forth thing. I either, what do they say, like shit or get off the pot?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing the back and forth thing anymore. So I hired someone to do the organizing as per my vision that I said I wrote down in 2018, and I give her all of my clients. And so I've had one organizing client all summer long, and that's terrifying because there was every single month this summer or like pretty much this year I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay rent. Like, I have $43 in my bank account. Rent is due tomorrow, and it's 24.50. Like, and I'm a single mom. So I've had moments where I was like, what am I gonna do? I had to put my dog down last month, and that cost several thousands of dollars. My car was broken this month. That was several thousand. And I'm just like, bring it on because I know that I'm being strengthened and this is all required in order to step fully into my purpose and my path. It's not easy. Like, shit, I've definitely thought like, "Okay, can I handle this? Am I strong enough to do this?" But again, I surrender and I just know that this is my purpose and passion. So, for anyone like listening, it's not gonna be easy, but if it was easy, everyone would do it. So just buckle up and get on the ride and, like, surround yourself with other people who are on it because trust me, they're out there, like Rocky and I. Come hang out with us. Like, it's fun, and we can support you through this journey because it's not meant to be done alone.
It's definitely not meant to be, and we have enough stuff in life that makes us feel isolated and alone, and why does that have to, like, come and the way we do it, the work that we do, it's really not as difficult to deal with the bad situations as people think. No, we're doing subconscious work, like, we're talking to a whole different version of you. Your conscious self is afraid. Your subconscious is fucking screaming to, like, go and be truly who you are and clear the bullshit out, but, it's just a matter of finding somebody that will help you, dive in and get down to the root of all the problems and
And having the courage to say yes.
yeah, yeah. So, I know, Cass, we could sit here and talk for probably hours.
Yeah, yeah.
We're probably just gonna have to have you come back at some point.
But come on my podcast.
Yes, yeah. See, we'll have a whole 'nother conversation there, right? So, but before I get off, I love to ask everybody this final question. And the question is, what is one moment in your life that you tuned in and felt like your life was guiding you?
I think it was the moment where I fully surrendered to God or universe in the moment when I decided to leave that abusive relationship and I just gave it all to God and I said, "Well, I'm just letting it go. I can't do this on my own and I don't think we're meant to." And literally from that moment on, I lived via a state of surrender and everything in my life has been just magical. I would say, like, I just riffed off a few things. That was, like, my financial trifecta of rock bottom, not being able to pay my rent, not being able to fix my car, not being able to afford to put my dog down out of suffering. That was another rock bottom, but now I think I'm done with the rock bottoms of the the cycles. I think I broke them all. Committing to living a state of surrender and fully just trusting my intuition, I think that was a pivotal moment of my life, and I haven't looked back. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And those moments of surrender, I mean, and I know like it is such like a deep, intense feeling when we really do like just be like, Jesus take the wheel, whatever it is you want to like, however you want to be like, God, please do this for me, whatever you believe in, like giving it up to something bigger than you and then really fully like trusting that everything is going to work out exactly how it should. And I think those are just really, really powerful moments in anybody's life.
Yeah. One last thing that I'll leave with people is every single day I exercise in some sort of capacity, but I at least do a walk a day. And when I do that, I set the intention. I just look up and I say, tell me what I'm meant to know in order to like bring me closer to my purpose. And then for the next like 15 minutes, I just listen and I wait to receive the answer. And I think people don't do that enough. They don't like, and I'll do that in my shower. I'll do that while I'm out on my paddleboard. I'll ask a question or set an intention, and then I just let go. And I don't touch my phone. And if a wandering thought comes in, I just say, clear the screen. Clear the screen so I can be like level headed and clear minded to receive the answer to propel me forward. People don't slow down enough.
Yeah, I do that in my meditations and journaling. And I'll just be like, what is it that I need to know? Or what do people need to hear from me today? Like, how do I need to show up today? And I do a lot more automatic writing. And so I just jot down whatever the answers are or whatever, but if I'm driving or something like that, I do love a good quiet drive and showers obviously are fantastic for that kind of stuff too, I was like, I always need my voice memo while I'm in the shower and I'm like, I cannot.
Waterproof markers in the shower. Like someone, if they're not already invented, like please someone send me some.
Oh my gosh, you know what we could do is get the kids in the bathtub, their crayons. Have you ever seen those? I used to get those from my girls when they were little.
Yes, that's a great. Because I get all the best downloads in the shower. I'm like, bam, I need to write this down somewhere. I'm gonna buy some of those.
Yeah, just go shop the kids soap section there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for having me on, and I hope people got value from this episode.
Yeah, thank you. I've really enjoyed our conversation, and I'm excited to meet you in person in October. You're in Virginia Beach, and I'm definitely looking forward to many more conversations and just seeing where your journey takes you because I think what you're doing is really cool. And you're gonna have to let me know when this book comes out because this sounds like a really cool book. I would love to get into the psychology of that.
Yes, yes. Flutter Talks, it's coming. It's brewing. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to be told as to when the perfect moment is to write it. Perfect as in when I'm told to write it, and it'll be this year, but yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. So, either way, Cass, thank you again so much. And until next time on Soul Knowledge Podcasts.
Thank you for tuning in and for doing this work, not just for yourself, but for everyone connected to you. If this episode stirred something in you, trust that. Share it, leave a review, send it to someone whose soul needs it. Your voice and your ripple matter. And if you're ready to go deeper, to explore your past lives, heal your patterns, reconnect to your soul, or work with me one-on-one, head over to tuneintowellness.com or connect with me on Instagram. Until next time, trust what you feel, honor what you know, and remember, your soul already has the answers. Be bold, be light, be you. I'll see you next time on Soul Knowledge.